Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with raregem-productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Our goal is to spark your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield.
And I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore, the lead of our Bioscience Inclusion Initiative with BioSTL.
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. We're back at it.
Yes. We have a dynamic lineup of guests for our sixth season.
Six.
And we are
all six.
I know. We'll be seven before you know it.
It's rolling.
In this world, things move fast. 13 weeks at a clip.
Yes.
So we are excited to be bringing you new episodes and new interviews. We're making an impact, and we're doing that through listeners like you. Nothing happens if we just talk to ourselves, although we probably would just keep talking to ourselves because we have a lot of fun.
Right.
But it's really about connecting with you all and making sure that you have the resources you need to see yourself in different entrepreneurial ways wherever you may be, and know what resources are available to you so you can be successful. So we have to thank our founding sponsors, BioSTL and CET, for their renewed support. Without them, we couldn't bring you this fabulous content, and they're very busy creating other opportunities for entrepreneurs to learn, grow, and be successful in our region. So check out their website, check out our website to get to their information. Just make sure you're connected. And please share new episodes. So shout it out to your friends, give your favorite guests a boost, and help us invite other folks to be part of the podcast experience. So wherever you find your favorite shows on iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, or LinkedIn, Gary Vaynerchuk reminds us that the future is voice, so shout it out.
Shout it out. So it is said that necessity is the mother of invention. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
That the primary driving force for most new inventions should be need. For our guest today, her necessity for natural products was not only a personal need, it was her passion. She began creating skincare products to address her own sensitivity as well as her son's issue with eczema. She merged her decades of extensive brand experience with her in-the-basement hobby. We all know about that.
Well, we have to start somewhere.
Yes, it's called a side hustle, too, and created her own brand of natural bath, body, and beauty products. Today, her products are sold at small boutiques, retail stores, as well as large companies such as Whole Foods. Oh, my favorite place. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Jean Scholtes, founder and CEO of KIND Soap Company. I even love the name of this company.
It is.
Her goal is to be a household name nationwide and to be the trusted brand for a new generation. So, if you want to hear her story, stay listening.
BioSTL is a proud founding sponsor of this Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast, and we want you to know all about the great things they are up to. BioSTL fosters collaborative efforts to advance innovation and entrepreneurship that builds on St. Louis's world-class medical and plant biosciences. Their global STL initiative aims to build a direct link between St. Louis and other countries by recruiting high-growth international companies to establish a United States presence in St. Louis. You can learn more about BioSTL and the Global STL Initiative by visiting biostl.org. And for your renewed and continuing support, BioSTL, we say thank you.
Hi, my name is Jean Scholtes. I'm the founder and CEO of KIND Soap Company. Entrepreneurial thinking to me means a way to get voices out that would otherwise not be heard, and especially women and people of color. And I appreciate the effort so much as a female founder in a place where sometimes you feel like you're yelling and no one hears you.
So joining us today is Jean Scholtes. You might know her husband, Jeff. He goes by Schultz. So there's a...
And they are married people.
They are, but, and she took his name.
Yes.
But there seems to be some disagreement about the proper pronunciation. So instead, why don't we just call her what she is, which is founder and CEO of KIND Soap Company. As you mentioned, KIND is working to produce truly natural bath, body, and beauty products, and to be kind to your skin, kind to the earth, and kind to others.
I love that
You said
mission.
how much you liked the name, and it's really deeply embedded in who they are.
And we need a lot of kindness in this
We
world
do
now.
need a lot of
Wow.
kindness. And so while Jean's been doing this since 2008, she is now part of the most recent cohort of Capital Innovators companies. So we're so glad that you could make time while building your company and being part of that program to join us today. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when you're not debating the proper pronunciation of your last name, as Cheryl mentioned, you really started doing this in your basement because your poor little guy was all itchy.
Yeah. My son Cooper, when he was about 4, he developed some really bad rashy spots on the back of his knees. And, take him to the doctor, dermatologist and all that. And they're like, oh, it's eczema. And, the only thing we can do for it is steroid creams, like every day.
Every day for a
Every
for a
day.
baby. Yeah.
Right. And who knew how long this was going to last for him? I mean, it could be the rest of his life, and that, steroids have terrible long-term side effects.
Absolutely.
So I was like, there just has to be a better way to deal with this. And every product I tried that was on the market just either made it worse or just didn't make it better. And I tried trusted brands, recommendations, things that were specifically for babies, specifically for eczema.
Right.
Just nothing worked. So, yeah, I just started whipping stuff up in my basement.
So what's your background? Are you a chemist by night and a mom by day? What?
No, I am the opposite of a chemist because, I've had to learn some, but did not come naturally. So my background is on the creative side. So I'm definitely a right brain person.
Okay.
I spent my career before this as a creative director. So I worked originally as a graphic designer, art director, creative director. I was the creative director for Sara Lee for 10 years.
Okay.
And I worked on the agency side as well. But my main goal, I did lots of different things. But I did a lot of packaging and brand identity and worked on brands a lot. So a lot of consumer packaged good brands. And so, yeah, I just kind of got to the point where, the basement thing was a side hustle, but it wasn't even a hustle. It was just a
necessity,
a
for
hobby,
your baby.
just trying things out. So there was a couple of years there where I just really did a lot of trial and error experimentation with formulas and learned so much about ingredients and there were products for babies with formaldehyde. There still is actually, but things like that, and just things that are classified banned in other countries, but not ours. They're classified as neurotoxins and carcinogens and hormone disruptors.
Wow.
And these are things you're putting on your baby and, adults too. So, once you start going down a rabbit hole, sometimes it's you just become immersed in it and just obsessed with it.
You did a lot of research then in order to understand all of the background with these different ingredients and products. So, how long were you in your basement actually mixing these together till you found the right combination? How long did it take you?
It probably took me about 9 months or so to come up with a soap. The thing I started with was soap. Because that's what I was using on him every night, and that's what I needed to change.
And soap is already a drying agent, right?
Right. So it's there's so many things that are in store-bought soaps and body washes and things like that are just not only unnecessary, but irritating. And that is the last thing you want to do for compromised skin, like eczema.
Right.
So it took me about 9 months of, I bought out Amazon's, section on, soap making and natural ingredients and just everything I could find. I have a whole library now of books that I lend out to people. But
and who was the test subject? You?
Yeah, I was a test. Cooper was a bit of a test subject too. But it took me a little while. I had some really bad batches of soap, really nasty, stinky, gelatinous, terrible
trial and error
batches of soap.
Exactly.
Soap making is like a science and an art. I mean, it is really it's like recipe following, cooking and, baking, things like that. But it's very temperamental. And so it really takes practice. No one just comes out of the gate and like make soap. I mean, it's like it could take people years to really get to where they were confident that they could reproduce the same thing.
And as a I would call you a non-technical founder.
I am a very non-technical founder. Yes.
And we think of that mostly in IT spaces, but I mean, truly, you're learning the technical aspect to meet that need, and you're seeing the opportunity through that lens of a creative director. But you're learning all the soap making, from scratch.
She's a pioneer woman. In 2017, 2018.
Right. Even before that. So you were experimenting when he was fairly young. I understand he's now taller than you, 15 years old, and has beautiful skin.
He does. I know. Better than mine. But, I mean, a 15-year-old is. Oh yeah,
it goes either way. 15,
exactly.
Right. It can either be the skin you want forever, or the skin you leave behind.
Right.
But how has that? So how did that hobby evolve from you hit on you had to be able to do it consistently. Repeat. When did that start to click for you?
It was a couple of years before I felt like I could share the products I was making with like other people that weren't my own personal guinea pigs. You know what I mean? Like that I would feel comfortable in giving something to someone that wasn't going to like burn their skin off or, I mean, it takes a little while to build up the confidence in your own product.
Sure.
That, that you actually want to have someone else like test it. So yeah, family and friends.
I was going to say
everyone got that for Christmas.
Yeah, great gifts.
There were several Christmases where if I drew their name, they were like, "I know what I'm getting." Yep. So whether they liked it or not,
hey, there you go. Yeah. And that's your market research. Those are your customers, right?
Yep.
So I'm sure you learned a lot from those.
I did.
From those folks.
Feedback is always good.
Yes.
Honing a formula. Just iterating it over and over until you get to, what you feel is like the best formula.
So how did you go from family and friends to now getting into your first stores?
Right. So I actually started after I kind of went through family and friends, and then I thought, at the time I was in an advertising agency, and I was...
So you were still working?
I was still working for a couple of years,
which is really what we recommend.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, it would be hard not to.
The entrepreneur who sits down and tells us they quit their job and then they, after 5 years, figured it all out. That's the one we're going to have to actually cut them off and be like, I'm sorry, we can't put that story out there.
Cannot come on
there. No, I was working and I was using my my coworkers as guinea pigs as well. And so I just kind of was like, I feel like I could create a brand around this because there's so many people. Like if these helped my son so much, like they could help a lot of other people too. And the things that are out there are terrible.
Yeah,
right.
I've gone through all of them. And so the seed sort of like just kind of got implanted. And about that time, InBev bought Anheuser-Busch.
Okay.
And Anheuser-Busch was one of our biggest clients at the agency that I was at. So, we already started to kind of get the rumor mill of like, well, they're going to, close down this department and do this. I just kind of saw the writing on the wall of like, there are going to be a lot of creative people out of work in St. Louis in the next couple of years. So I kind of decided I needed to kind of pivot a little bit and not have an agency or a company in control of my destiny and my life and my, financial situation and kind of, go out on my own and do my own thing and see if I can build a brand since I have so much, experience in that.
I was going to say, perfect background for doing this, right?
I have that. And then I had this where I felt like I was getting really comfortable with what I was able to do. I took classes through American College of Healthcare Sciences in Portland, Oregon to become a certified aromatherapist.
Oh, wow.
So I could use essential oils instead of synthetic fragrance for scent and also therapeutic things. And so I was immersed in, learning as much as I could and being like as legitimate as I could before I started to sell, like why should I use your stuff? You don't know anything.
Right. What's the competitive advantage, right?
Right. So, I really started working on the brand. Like, well, if I'm going to build a brand, what do I want it to be about? And so every time I kept thinking about what I wanted it to entail, not just great products, but if I was going to start from scratch, I was going to build it exactly how I wanted it.
Sure.
Exactly.
So the word kind just kind of kept coming up. I want to be really kind to your skin, and I want to be like really kind to others. And then I'm like, well, I really want to kind of be kind to the earth too. So the 3 pillars kind of formed very kind of just organically. And kind just kept sticking there. And I tried, a million other different, like, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do this. And it just was like, nope, it's kind,
back, right.
So then it worked so well just because it's a word that, just didn't get used a whole lot at the time. I mean, it was almost like old-fashioned-y sounding.
Yes.
It's around more now. I mean, I think just there's a lot of kindness initiatives going on. But, so I'm like, I'm going to build my company on these 3 pillars of kind. 3 pillars of kindness is what we call them. It's kind to your skin by not using all these harmful and irritating ingredients, but also using the best ingredients. So I'm not skimping on like a lower grade shea butter because it's cheaper. I'm like, if I'm going to use it on me and if I'm going to use it on my family, it's going to be the best everything. And then kind to the earth. So I just didn't want to like load up landfills with more stuff. So I'm trying to do everything I can. I wanted to make sure our labels were tree-free and plastic-free. So they're made out of either sugarcane waste fibers or ground-up stone.
Wow.
Soy ink. There's like wind-powered factories that are printing some of our stuff. Just like as green as you can get.
So you were very conscientious, not only about the product, but how the product was presented.
Right.
And about
and brand continuity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the 3rd pillar, just being kind to others. So we do that in a lot of different ways. But the main thing was like, I'm going to build in 10 cents per product that I sell to go to charity directly. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's built in. I'll never miss it because it was in there in the beginning. I'm not taking it out later.
Right.
And so, my stepson is on the autism spectrum. He has Asperger's. And so I thought that's a really close to home type of thing. So I decided Autism Speaks would be my charity. And so 10 cents from every product we've sold for the last 8 years or so has gone to Autism Speaks.
Wow.
And then we also...
That's commitment.
Yeah. And the check gets bigger and bigger every year. And that's really
exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. When you look back at the first check, it was a couple $100s and we're up in the thousands. So
that's wonderful.
And we also we employ the people of a shelter workshop here in St. Louis called Worth Industries. They wrap all of our soaps for us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so they're amazing people down there. And, it would be cheaper to do it ourselves. But we feel it's part of our mission to be kind of, they need work. They're always, they have waiting lists of people that want to come in and work. And so the more work we can give them, the more people they can put to work. And they all love it. They feel so like accomplished when they come in, and they all want to give you a hug, and they're just amazing people.
That's wonderful. And I encounter a lot of entrepreneurs who want to figure out how to do well while doing good, or do good while doing well, whichever order you want to do it in. And I talk with them a lot about how to look at your for-profit revenue model as a way, because, sometimes being a nonprofit's the best way to go. Other times earned revenue can give you the flexibility. And I remind people that as owners, we have a discretion with what we do with our profits. And that building that in, baking it in, not only as a brand pillar, but then really infusing that across your company. That's remarkable, because also a lot of folks say that can wait. Like I can be socially responsible later after I've made a whole lot of money, but you've really built that in from the beginning. Yeah. Remarkable. That's exciting. Well, and what's exciting too is that you're at a new inflection point with your company. So we're going to come right back and talk about that.
All right.
CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, is a proud founding sponsor of this entrepreneurially thinking podcast. We want you to know all about the great things they are up to. CET is in the business of entrepreneur development, offering a variety of programming to meet the training and technical needs of early-stage entrepreneurs. These programs include the Square One Ignite and Bootcamp training program, Level Next, technical assistance, workshops, and other educational programming. To learn more about CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, visit CETSTL.com. And for your renewed and continuing support, CET, we say thank you.
So it was about that 2008-2009 period where what you had been doing and your work situation. We always find that entrepreneurs, we encourage them to stay with their full-time gig for as long as possible. And then sometimes the universe also provides natural exits. So 2008, 2009 provided a natural exit.
Absolutely.
And then, and So how did you go from
giving gifts?
Thank you. Giving gifts to selling to customers, and sort of if you can catch us up on where you are today, because that Capital Innovators piece is a whole nother evolution for you, but I don't want to skip right to that.
Right.
So what happened 2008 and forward? What was your journey like?
So while I was still working, 2008, 2009, I was, honing in on, like exactly what I wanted to do. And it was about 2010 that I was approached by someone locally in Webster Groves, where I lived. I actually was doing the graphics for the Webster Groves farmers market. It was the first Webster Groves farmers market ever. And so I was doing a freelance job and doing the graphics for all the banners and everything like that. And so the guy on the committee that I worked with, he's like, I heard you make this stuff, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, you should totally have a booth in the market. So I was like, okay, why not,
Sure.
So that summer I spent doing the farmers market, and I also was starting to do some other, people invite you to do craft fairs or boutiques or just things that popped up here and there. And I started. I had a couple of friends that had friends that were like, they want to carry your stuff in their store, and so just a few small little wholesale accounts. And then after the farmers market was over, the guy that got me into it, he was the landlord of a building that was right there by the farmers market. He's like, I have this little space I think would be perfect for you. It was almost like a kiosk. It was like a 12 by 12 room. Oh. And he's like, if you want to try out, having your own store, because I kind of talked about it might be fun. Just it's cheap, give it a go. And so I did. And
we love low risk experiments, right?
It was very low risk. And my aunt was a big supporter of mine, and she kind of lent me the money to kind of get started, ramping up all the ingredients and takes a lot of money to just start even a small little space. I mean, it's a lot of money.
I have to remind folks that you have to invest in inventory if you're going to do a bricks and mortar, and that's money that you have to spend before you're ever going to sell anything.
So were you still producing on your own then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so and then just printing all the labels for all the products, more than just out of my printer, because it's it was just not cost effective, and they ran in the shower, and, so really getting in, of course, the labels that I chose are more expensive than just your everyday labels.
And you can't run them off of your printer.
You can't run them off your printer. So that was a huge investment. And then I was like, I can't be here. I had 2 little kids at the time. And I had just gotten married and inherited 2 more kids from Mr. Scholtes. And
it's so good that you let him hang out at your house.
I know, isn't it? And so my aunt offered to help me run the store, for free.
Wow.
And so she helped me do that for 2 years. And
that's a
that
gift.
labor, that labor,
gift.
And that's
money
where
and time,
comes from.
Right? Money and time, right?
You have been kind. And people have been kind to you with the start of your business, the store, the farmers market,
right.
And then the free labor,
right?
Wow, that's great.
And so after 2 years there, I realized this was a thing, and I could do this, and I left there and went to where we are now, which is in Old Webster. And it's 4 times the size of, what we had.
Had you
if
left
not more.
Your full-time gig by that time?
Yes. When I right before I opened the store, I left.
Okay.
Because, it was definitely difficult to do, difficult to do both. So I moved into this new space that seemed huge at the time, and we quickly grew out of that, but we're still there.
Wow.
Just on top of each other. But unfortunately, after about a year there, my aunt had an autoimmune disease called Sjogren's syndrome, and she ended up dying. And yes, it was very sad, right? She was only 11 years older than me, so she was more kind of a really close, big sister.
Yeah.
And that threw me for a bit of a loop, because she did all of my left brain stuff.
Wow.
As we were, Whole Foods came in.
Good partnerships make for good teams and good strong companies.
Right. So, in this period of time, we had brought on Whole Foods as a wholesale account, and all these and many more things. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can't do all of it. It got to where it was growing too much. So my good friend Angie, who had worked with me at Sara Lee, was working at Panera. She'd been there for 10 years, working in their marketing and operations, and she was cashed out on corporate. She was just I can't do this anymore.
I'm done. Right.
I'm done. And
The universe is speaking to me.
Right. And I said, well, would you come help me for a little bit? Because, Jill's gone and I can't keep track of it. I can't keep up with it. I'm going to send myself to jail because I'm not going to pay my taxes right.
Right.
And
you don't look good in orange.
I do not. Oh, with the red hair? No way. No way. So she somehow, and I basically was like, I can pay you in soap scraps. That's about it.
She'll be clean.
Yes.
You'll be very clean.
And she had become a really good customer. She was a very fervent
user.
supporter,
A super user. Yep.
She was one of our kind ambassadors. So she came on, and somehow I've managed to keep her there because I was in between while you're figuring out what you're going to do next, just come help me. And so she's been with me for now about 4 years.
Wow.
And she is my left brain. I cannot do this without her. So we are a great team because I'm right brain, she's left brain, and she keeps me in line and keeps me in check sometimes when I want to just
go off
right. And, and
the creative side is really ruling.
Yeah.
All of that yes and.
Right.
Every once in a while she'll throw in a but.
Right. But have you seen our bank account? Right. Bank schmank, whatever, So that's kind of where we are now. Is that we've been in our space now for 5 years, and we are trying to figure out. We need more space, but we're trying to figure out now if we're going to get some warehouse space and move production there, and because we're producing pretty much everything on a little table in the store. It's ridiculous.
So you're producing in the store now?
We're producing in the store. We have a couple partners that are now doing some of the stuff off-site for us.
Okay.
And then Worth Industries has a nice space for us down there where we can store some things and labels and things like that too. So we're trying to find really good contract manufacturing partners for some of our stuff without sacrificing any quality or any, it's to be able to scale up. Or, we consider ourselves a scale up, not a startup.
Sure.
So, that is the whole ball of wax right now.
So, okay, you went from startup to scale up, okay, and how did you find Capital Innovators, and why were you interested in that program?
Well,
people don't know Capital Innovators is one of the top accelerators in the country. That's right here in the St. Louis market. Just a plug for them.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Schultes, my husband, he has a friend who is a subject matter expert, SME, which we call him at Capital Innovators. He just he was a new come on, he's an investor, has his had his own successful company, and so he's Jeff was talking to him about both of our companies. Well, one thing public service announcement. Jeff and I started our companies at the same time, and I would not recommend that.
Oh, well, we'll have to have Jeff on next.
Oh, wow.
Because, that'll be the other side of the coin as well in all other respects.
Right.
And we'll know how to pronounce his name.
Right. And a dual entrepreneur family. God bless you.
Wow.
It's not advisable. No. So, but his company also kind of uprooted out of St. Louis because of the InBev purchase.
Okay. So a lot of serendipity there as well.
But anyway, I digress. So he has a friend called, his name's Ed Neep, and he just was talking to us about our businesses and, how we're I'm I don't know what to do next. I wish I had these mentors that could tell me this is what you need to do, because you could scale in so many different ways. And do we focus on retail? Do we focus on wholesale? Do we focus on e-commerce? Do we,
there's
what
lots
do you do?
of
There's so many things. It's how do you know what to do? How do you know what the right answer is, And not that someone knows exactly the right answer, but someone could help you get there.
Exactly. That
has more experience. I'm I've maxed out my business experience. I've never had a business class in my life.
Hey,
I
there's a lot of great entrepreneurs in the same situation, so you are not alone.
Yeah. Well,
I think learning it on the fly as you go is the best experience that you can get.
It's certainly one that works for a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah. So he just said, hey, she should apply for this Capital Innovators thing, and I was just kind of okay. I mean, and I did. I just submitted kind of what we kind of already had, and then they called back and said, hey, we'd like to keep talking to you, and did, kind of went in and did, a little dog and pony show, and then, talk again, and then, all right, we want you're down to the final 12, and we're going to pick 6, and so he did the big, presentation in front of all the mentors and everything like that, and it was just it's practice. It's practice for me to I got to figure out what I'm going to do next. It's practice. And so I did it, and never in a million years thought we would get picked.
And you did.
Because we're not tech.
Right.
We're not a startup. And, well, I just don't feel like we were like the type of company that the accelerator would pick. You know what I mean? It's like we're soap, so... but we did get chosen, and I'm really, really grateful for that.
I was going to say, it still is a 12-week process. Yes. I used to be a lead mentor there, and I know Judy's, the whole premise is they'll take your company in 12 weeks, what it would take you in a year to achieve. They'll do it in 12 weeks.
I believe that. Yeah, I just finished the 12 weeks. Next week is our demo day where we stand up at the pageant theater in front of... Everybody and their brother that wants to invest in companies, and hopefully I won't pass out and deliver it. So that it's been a really intense 12 weeks.
But I think it's really interesting because most companies who are going through Capital Innovators or that are looking for investment in their companies, you owned your own company. What made you think about sharing that equity now with other folks? That's a really
it's a big decision.
Yeah.
Well, we're not exactly sure we want to do that. So we shared some equity with Capital Innovators because they invested in us. They gave us some funds, and we gave them some equity. And my partners and I, Angie has a small percentage. My uncle, who my aunt died, I gave her sweat equity back when she was still here, and we were just kind of like, we really want to hang on to as much equity as we can, especially at this stage, because we know at some point, once we're starting to, we're going to need an influx of cash.
Sure.
So we're not sure. We still haven't decided exactly what we're going to say if people say, like, well, why are you here? Why are you pitching to us? Because it's like, if it was the right situation, we would consider it.
Okay.
But we're not just looking for money. You know what I mean? Like, if there was a strategic partner.
I was going to say, you're looking for a great partner, right? That can take you to the next level. That could bring
money, that had the knowledge and the ability or connect, whatever, to take us to that next level.
Well, I think you're at a very interesting stage because you already have revenue, you already are producing, you already have customers. So you're at a really nice stage to say, you know what? I can pitch and determine.
Well, and this is what we tell entrepreneurs all the time is that folks are going to want to invest in you when you feel like you don't need the money, right? Like way back when you were still doing it in your basement, when you were in your first 100 by 100 square foot space, when you would give anything to be able to not have to scrimp and scrape, and you might have actually thought about, how much would I be willing to give away in order to get to the next level quicker? And honestly, you did all the hard work of de-risking it, right?
Yeah.
You're in Whole Foods. Yeah. You've got your retail location. We know it works. We know Kind is Kind sells. People are buying what she's selling, right? But that often that's when the money is more available. And so it'll be interesting to watch you make those decisions about how to scale, when to scale, and how much money from outside to use to do that. But I think that's a really important thing for us to remind our listeners of is that, that raising money is never only one stage of the development of the company, but it's also never an easy decision either.
And it should be strategic. It shouldn't be like you see it on Shark Tank. Okay, I'll give you, 70% of my company for $2,000. Okay,
Thank goodness we only see a very small part of those conversations.
But I thought it was so interesting when I came across your story in the Business Journal about, how you built your company, what you're doing. And it's just, we really love these types of stories so that people understand, it is a lot of work to do this. I mean, it's not overnight that you came out and within a year, here you have this great opportunity. So these stories are important for our listeners.
So today, in addition to the soap that made your 15-year-old skin the skin of the envy of all, are you still just soaps, or are there other products in your product line?
Before I even started selling to other people, I just was like, well, I can make that, and I can make that. I can make lotion, I can make scrub, I can make lip balm.
I can do it all.
Now that I know how to do this. So we have 5 product lines, over 100 SKUs. So we have our Bath and Body line, which is, the soaps, lotions, scrubs, bubble baths, stuff like that. We have Kind Face, which is all our skincare, so facial skincare. So we have several product lines, collections under that. We have Mankind, which is our men's line.
Very nice.
Very nice, yes.
We have Kind Baby, so that we have a baby line. Yeah. And what's the other one? Kind Kisses. So that's our lip products.
Kind Kisses.
Yes, petroleum-free, lip products. Because the average woman eats half a pound of lip gunk every year. Like ingested.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy my lip stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was eating so much lip
gunk.
Gunk, yeah.
But that also doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
The things you learn.
Oh,
right?
my God.
So if I want to buy these products,
yes.
where can I find you? All the places where I should at least start.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're in St. Louis, the best thing to do is come to our store in Webster Groves because we have all 100 products there. You can
Shopping
find us,
trip.
Yeah. You can find us in certain Whole Foods in the Midwest region. So all of the St. Louis ones, there's a few in Chicago. And during the holidays, we're in about 40, 48. And then online. So the focus of Capital Innovators for us, we decided, was to really focus on e-commerce.
Wonderful.
And because that is a sort of like we don't need vast amount of money to build new stores and all that stuff. So we're really, really excited about our e-commerce channel. So it's kindsoap.com, and we have free shipping. Anywhere in the country. So
that's even kinder.
Well, yes, I think we go to the retail location, find the products we love, buy them online, and have them delivered to our home.
There we go.
And then we'll minimize the lip gunk issues altogether and have beautiful skin that is also the envy of all.
There we go.
Well, this is really exciting, and we know that Capital Innovators has been a really intense period for you. You're clearly still, running the business on a day-to-day basis while investing in the business, working on it, not just in it.
Right.
Woo!
Learned
love that.
Yes. I learned that. Yep.
Well, it's and so the fact that you would take time out to share your story with us, and most importantly with our listeners, that means everything to us. So thank you for being with us.
I'm so happy to have been here, and I love what you guys are doing too. I mean, it's so important for entrepreneurs, founders, and especially women, and all that to kind of like
hear the story,
get the voices out there. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.
Changing the way you view new ventures, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's entrepreneurially thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. #ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.